How would you feel to be a part of one of the most notorious outlaw groups known to this day? With over $15 million stolen in cash and bonds during the Roaring '20s, the Newton brothers robbed over 87 trains and 6 banks. They were composed of Willis, Jess, Joe, and Doc Newton. They were the most successful bank robbers in history. According to Willis, the gang stole more than the Dalton Gang, the Wild Bunch, and the James Younger gang combined. They also never killed anyone during their heists. The gang consisted of Willis Newton, 25-year-old ringleader. He pulled his first robbery alone with $4,700. He had several encounters with the law where he learned the art of blowing up safes with nitroglycerin. Joe Newton, the youngest, joined in 1920. Doc, after escaping Texas prison, joined his brothers in 1921. Jess makes up the final member of the group, and after being released in the later part of 1921, also joined his brothers. The Newton gang reputation at a young age where they broke into stores as kids in the Uvalde County. Breaking into stores didn't satisfy the ambitions of the 4 brothers, so they progressed to robbing banks and trains. The first 2 years, the gang typically went on night burglaries of small-town banks. They traveled across the Great Plains and the Midwest, sometimes continuing into Canada, looking for banks to rob. The key to their success was identifying the square door safes. They devised a nitroglycerin system detonated by a dynamite cap that would blow the door off. This process took about 5 minutes. The whole bank robbing took 15 minutes if it was planned carefully and accurately. The first known Texas bank that the boys burglarized was the Bernie State Bank, 30 miles north of San Antonio. Later, they broke into 2 Hondo banks in one night after realizing that the first bank did not contain enough money for the boys. On August 25, 1921, they had their first unsuccessful heist in Texas. They only found registered mail, not the money that they were hoping for. On June 12, 1924, they joined 2 Chicago gangsters and robbed a train in Rondout, Illinois. This was known as the Rondout train robbery, worth about $3 million, the largest in history. Doc was then hit in the leg by a stray bullet by one of the gang members. The police was tipped off about a wounded man in Chicago days later, and within those days, each of the gang members, Doc, Willis, and Joe, were arrested. Jess managed to escape with $35,000 in cash and got drunk and buried it down in Texas, down near San Antonio. He later fled to Mexico, but his freedom was short-lived when he was located in Vicuña and brought across the border. $100,000 was given in exchange for lighter sentences for the boys. Willis and Doc got 4 years, Joe got 1 year, and Jess got less than 6 months. In 1968, Doc, who is now mid-70s, robbed another bank, and Willis robbed one in Brackettville, Texas. There was no evidence against Willis for the Brackettville crime, so he was not arrested. The missing money that Jess buried has never been found. They hunted for it after being released. Jess buried it on top of a hill under a rock. He testified that it was on Fredericksburg Road, but Willis is convinced it was near Bandera. Jess worked on ranches in Uvalde until he died of lung cancer at age 73 in 1960. Doc worked on ranches until he was arrested in 1978 at age 77. He served his entire sentence in the Fort Stockton Prison Hospital after painting a wound to the head by a police officer. Upon his release, he returned to Uvalde and died of lung cancer at age 83 in 1974. Joe worked on a Uvalde ranch and Doc's ranches in Oklahoma. He later died on February 3rd of 1989. Willis, the leader of the group, farmed in Texas with wife Louise. He died on August 22nd, 1979 at the age of 90. In 1998, the life and times of the Newton boys was made into a movie for 20th Century Fox. The boys called the Uvalde their home, and it's ironic that the movie starred Matthew McConaughey, who is also a Uvalde native. In conclusion, the 4 brothers pulled off the most notorious heist known in the U.S. and got away with it. Willis and the boys truly believed that they weren't outlaws. They considered themselves to be complete businessmen. Willis always stated, there's no fun to it. We never did it for the excitement. We only did it for the money.